engage the situation. It allows you to understand your customer ahead of time. But here's what I want you to do. When you ask the question, always remember to listen to what the answer is. Because if they give you an answer and you ignore the answer, they know you're not paying attention to it. So always listen for the answer. There's a certain amount of questions you need to understand. There's always a connecting question, right? These questions put the focus on them and their world. It allows you to figure out what it is that they have going on in their life. And it's also going to let you understand how is it that I can relate to that situation. I was just curious. What is it about the Legal Shield opportunity that got your attention? See, if I get that answer, I don't have to rattle off a whole bunch of things. I just need to deal with that one payment thing. So you always want to ask those questions. Is there anything else that attracted you? So you may say something about the trips, or I was hoping to be able to get a trip or a vacation with my family. I can immediately go into, well, we got an excellent program called Performance Club. If you stay consistent in that, you'll be able to go on free trips every year. It'll save you on those family expenses. You got what we call situational questions. That's where you find out exactly what is going on with them, right? What is their present situation? Your goal is to identify that situation so you know exactly what it is you're dealing with, right? What are you doing now to change your situation? Who's the current law firm that you have for your business? So you've got to make sure that you're asking those key questions that will allow you to build a relationship to close the sale. And then there's what I call problem awareness questions. These questions help answer, do they like their present situation and what's their past history? You will ask as many of these questions as needed. On average, it's usually 3 to 4, but sometimes a few more depending on the situation. So here's a reason why I always go to trainings, and here's a reason why I always network with others. We were doing a trainer call the other day, and Mr. Agar Thomas, Agar is here somewhere. Everybody shout out to cousin Agar. A legend in the Legal Shield business, but he gave me one question that I put into use immediately. When sitting down with a business owner, he said the question he asked is, what's the one thing that could totally disrupt or ruin your business? What's the answer, people? Lawsuit. The second question is, what is it that you have in place to protect you from that? I don't know any business owner that you can ask that question to and you get those two answers that you're not going to sell a legal plan. Our legal plan comes with trial defense to help you in a situation like that, and you now have that readily available for you. But you would not have known that had you not asked the what? The proper questions. The questions are what are you asking, right? You also want to know 2 truth questions. Use this only if you need it. You will only use 2, 3 to 4 of these. It sounds like things are going fairly well for you. Is there anything I could change? If there's anything you could change, what would it be? So when Mr. Ron Green came into the grocery store and he met me, one of the things I remember him clearly saying, he said, Mr. Edwards, it seems like you're doing very good here as a store manager. If there's anything you could change, what would it be? Well, it was time freedom for me. I was making 6 figures, but I was working 60 hours a week. I didn't have any what? Time freedom. He said, if we could figure out a way to help you earn the same amount of income, but not exude as much amount of time, would that be of any value to you? That piqued my interest. Everybody say this to me. If I, would you? Mr. Green, if I would send you a video, sir, would you take some time out of your day to take a look at it? It's a question, but it's also allowing you to get a confirmation from the person when you send them something. I don't send anything to anyone unless I ask them the question. If I, would you? If I, would you? Look, I'm so glad you looked at the video. Look, if I could get one of my Millionaire Club members to actually talk to you about this opportunity, would you be willing to pay attention when I get them on the line? Here's the thing that you all have to work on is your posture. Some of you aren't confident about your Legal Shield opportunity. And it shows in the fact that you don't even ask questions. You just say, hey, I got this legal thing, I need you to look at it. Hey, man, you really look at this legal thing? Would you look at this legal thing for me? That's the question you ask. I need you to be confident in what it is that you have. If you are here today and you have never used your Legal Shield membership, I'm going to ask you to write this down. I will use my membership this week for something. I need you to go ahead and fill out your will questionnaire. If you have not done your will questionnaire here, this is your assignment. TMP, first of all, it is irresponsible for you not to have a will. We talk about faith, we talk about family, we talk about finance. All of those things are tied into your will. So your assignment this week is to make sure that each and every one of you go ahead and get your what? Your wills done. So let's make sure we get that done. Here's why I want you to do it. I want you to be able to have the experience of getting it done. So when you ask questions, you can ask it with confidence. Let me ask you something. I see you have a great family. Have you had the opportunity to make sure that all the proper documents are in place for them? Based on the response, I can ask serious questions. Is cost one of the reasons why you didn't think your family was important enough to get it done? If I could show you a way to get that done without worrying about a high cost of actually getting it done by a top-ranked law firm, would that give any value to you? Because I do think you think your family is important. You have to be confident in what it is that you do. Sometimes you have to sting people slightly a little bit to let them realize you're really not as astute as you claim to be. Or you're really not as serious about what you say you are serious about as you claim to be. Sometimes you have to bring it out of them. But the only way you can do that is if, one, you personally have experienced it, you personally have gone through the information, right? I want you to do solution awareness questions, right? What would change now that you have this benefit? Look, if you had access to a top-ranked law firm and didn't have to pay a high hourly rate, how would that be beneficial to your business? These are things that you want them to take, and Mr. Suarez talked about it earlier. Pause. I need you to pause and allow them to actually answer the question. Because them answering the question is actually them closing the deal for you. It is better for them to realize they have a problem than for you to point out they have a problem. If I say, you know you're stupid because you don't have an attorney, it now becomes a defense situation. But if I ask the question, let me ask you something. If you had access to a law firm, would that be beneficial to your business? How would you use them if cost wasn't the issue? Now they have to think about it. Well, how would I use them? Man, I just had a debt collection letter come in the other day. I would ask them what I need to do about that. I just had a vendor that didn't pay me what they were supposed to pay me. I'd ask them how I could handle that. So you let them start listing off the things that they could do, and then you match it up with what our benefit does. So the good news is they'll write 5, 10, 15, 20 debt collection letters a month, depending on how many you need. Each plan differs. So you want to be able to get the understanding of what their situation is, but you also want them to be the ones to pull it out of themselves. You only get that to happen when you have them ask more questions. You also want to talk about consequence questions. Look, if someone was to slip and fall and they were to file a lawsuit against you, and you now had to hire a reputable law firm to defend you in that situation, let me ask you something. One, what would that do for your business, do to your business? And two, where would that budget come from? I ask that question all the time. Every business owner's biggest fear is being sued. And we're in a society right now where suing is just the thing to do. There's an element of society that would rather sue and settle out of court than actually have to go through it. And there's a business owner that can't afford a lengthy trial, so what do? They settle what? Sad to say, there's an element that understands that. The great news is we have a system and something in place that can protect them from that. See, I was sued once. I stopped a shoplifter outside of the parameters. A corporate company says, well, we didn't tell you to stop them, especially outside. So the lawsuit was a personal lawsuit. They sued me as an individual. Luckily for me, I was a member of leadership. 2 weeks into it, 3 weeks into it, the law firm called me back and said the case was dropped. I said, how was it dropped? He says, well, I told the opposing law firm that you've already paid us for 60 hours. We can drag this out as long as we need to. We have videotape. They obviously stole the information, and that client can't afford their time. Do you all have at least a home-based plan? Strongly recommend that you do. You can be sued. You are an independent associate. That means you are a business owner. So you definitely want to make sure you have a plan also. And then you want to do what we call qualifying questions. These questions, right, this is what you do to change their situation. It's important for them to understand what the change of their situation is. I'll give you a perfect example. Let me ask you all something. If you were to plug into Mr. Self's mastermind and be able to get 6 weeks of mentorship, 6 months of mentorship with people that have earned over $1 million, and if you were to really pay attention and focus to that, do you think that would make a difference in your life?
Of course.
What would that difference be?
More money.
I want you to think about that. Take a minute, just be silent. I really want you to think about what would my life look like if I actually had that opportunity to sit at the foot of millionaires and they tell me exactly what it is I need to do, knowing that if I was committed to doing what they told me, that 6 months, a year from now, my life would look different. What would my life look like? I don't want to hear it. I want you to internalize it.